For me, it was through the Goonies, by playing the part of a leader and being put into a pop cultural space capsule and launched into my teenage years with a sense that what I had to say matters. I knew, or at least felt, that my life was going to carry with it certain opportunities, responsibilities, and even some burdens as I moved forward. As it turns out, the microphones are bigger now than ever before, and it is easy for people's views, celebrity or not, however underdeveloped, to explode across the airwaves. Unsuspecting listeners and viewers are frequently subjected to discourse whose only outcome can be confusion, mistrust, and distraction, or worse, indifference and interest. Obviously, celebrities quite often exacerbate the problem, but it is really everyone's responsibility to advance discussions toward a state of greater understanding. And that includes radio, television, and cable personalities and those who write in or call in. The radio, television, and cable personalities, however, often provoke their celebrity prey by appealing to their ego and then fuel injecting the exchange or their reporting with demagoguery and radically opposing viewpoints in such a way that logic and analysis are crushed to death in favor of the sensational drivel we are all so sick of. Rather, it is all of our responsibility to search for solutions to problems together that truly benefit everyone's interests. And while this sounds obvious, I'll bet even in your classes, questions are posed and statements percolate forth that sometimes are not designed to create more understanding as much as they are meant to gratify one's own sense of prominence, regardless of the actual effect it has on the group. Of course, I've been guilty of that many times, perhaps even now. It goes without saying, or should, that we should not let ourselves become distracted by celebrity sideshows. We should refuse to allow others to treat that which is valid without courtesy, or submit willingly to undercooked opinions, regardless of the standing of the person that the person holds. The devil is in the details. And my father raised me to believe that every individual person's life has meaning and should be treated with respect. I suppose that was meant to include celebrities. Yeah, okay. Just double checking. Maybe not. For my part, I wish to use my voice, as I know you all do, and more often than not, we work to contribute our time and energy and ideas to promote greater understanding. And I think that is the foundation of leadership, doing and trying to do the right thing, because morality and leadership are linked, or at least they should be. To me, the word leadership itself is filled with hope and potential. Villains, unchecked charisma in individuals, those who come to power through treachery and deceit and coercion and violence, may be leaders of a kind. But somehow, there's a quantum leap from those type of leaders to those who embody the greater ideal of leadership. Fear, intimidation, and punishment are often effective tools in compelling others to act in this way or that. Even if you don't see it, it could be happening. But those are tactics. Machiavelli's maxim of being feared over being loved as a way to maintain power just sounds kind of lonely and pathetic to me. Even on small scales, the assertion of power in this way, by dominating and suppressing, whether it's in our relationship or our geopolitics, can't possibly be the measure of leadership that yields the greatest satisfaction. The very sound of the word leadership inspires a sense of righteousness. So-and-so demonstrated leadership skills, real leadership skills. The capacity to guide each other faithfully toward an objective requires vision and strength and honor. Not perfection, no leader is perfect. And sometimes the most valuable and enlightening choice a leader can make is knowing when to follow. During the 2008 presidential campaign, we heard a lot about we heard the phrase soft power used a lot. The idea that America's interests abroad were no longer best pursued through military force alone, but that economic and diplomatic tools were likely the way forward. My dad brought to my attention a contemporary Eastern spiritual advisor, a Buddhist named Daisaku Ikeda, who conceived of that phrase differently nearly 30 years ago. He wrote that we are entering the age of soft power, and that as it develops, real leadership will not be expressed in the giving of orders, but the facilitating of consensus. Throughout my life, either as a civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army, Serving on President Bush's Council on Service, whether it's been serving on the board of the National Center for Family Literacy, or it's been coaching my daughter's soccer teams, or sitting in a juvenile detention center, offering guidance to kids in trouble, whether it's been managing a career whose financial awards benefit agents and managers and accountants and publicists and lawyers and others. In all of these ways and so many more, with so many failures and so many successes, I have quested to become a leader. This feeling in my heart, this passion, has yielded much heartache and countless pearls of wisdom. Some of the most meaningful are these. In order to earn the respect of others and to manage that trust faithfully, we must first inhabit the essence and practice of leadership, compassion, fortitude, and discipline being among the more valuable tools. Leadership is a skill indeed, but it is also a way of being. To finally answer the age-old debate, I say that leadership is necessarily innate and cultivated. At the risk of sounding jingoistic, I like to think of this mixture of natural-born leadership combined with a carefully molded over time quality of leadership as the manifestation of a new emerging American nobility. It has not been perfected, and it is easily corrupted. But once acquired on large scales and small, individuals who possess this gift will light the paths before us. And we must remember that leadership is, by its definition, a collective endeavor, requiring the participation of those being led. Another way of saying this is that you can't lead alone. There's a saying about leadership: if you turn around and no one is following you, you're just out on a walk. And perhaps most important, leadership is a quality, not being sipped from a chalice, but forged through deeds. It can be demonstrated in an instant or applied carefully over time. Leadership must be precise. It must also be intuitive and fluid. To my way of thinking, achieving an objective is not the sole criteria for gauging success. The manner in which people were inspired or provoked or encouraged or taught or directed reveals the nature of leadership that has been exercised. Only upon reflection is it possible to determine if such leadership is enviable, effective, and ultimately worthy of being reproduced. Therefore, it follows that inspirational leadership requires agreement. Let's do it this way. Okay, let us. The raw power of that individual determination to make the choice to be led, that judgment is the currency of genuine leadership. It is the validation and substance of the bond that allows the act of leadership to flourish. In our civic life, the consent of the governed is a premise that has sustained our democracy. It was the pinnacle of leadership to establish such a system. For leadership to succeed on the deepest level, there must be confidence and understanding. Finally, success in any endeavor is accompanied by meticulous attention to detail and an unflinching willingness to fail. Also, and this is really important, don't forget to mark your milestones on your journey. Celebrate your successes, and most importantly, and I learned this playing boobs and wackos, it's always important to keep a sense of perspective and a good sense of humor.